My name is Rabbi Moshe Shur, used to be called Mickey Shur.
And my name is Peter Geffen, and we were civil rights workers who worked for Dr. King in the SCOPE Project, Summer Community Organization and Political Education Project in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
That was about 50 years ago, and also we had the honor of finding the mule for the wagon behind us for Dr. King's funeral 47 years ago. I don't know. We're supposed to be on a march, and it would be the hungry, but we changed the venue because it's up in the air. But otherwise, we don't have anything.
We got the mule to your nearest to us.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
That was 50 years ago. And Peter and I were also asked to help out at the funeral of Dr. King, and we were in charge of getting one of the mules on a flatbed truck to come and pull the cortege. And in this picture, we're somewhere in the back with Senator Robert Kennedy.
So when John Kennedy was assassinated, the story is that Dr. King was watching the funeral on television with Coretta, and he turned to her. He was 34 years old, and he said, "Corey, I am not going to live out the days of my life. And when I die, I want to be buried the way the poorest black sharecropper is buried. No hearse, no horses, no fancy wagon as Kennedy was buried on that beautiful cortege that was used for Abraham Lincoln, but just with a simple farm mule train, a farm truck pulled by simple
On the
mules."
morning of the funeral, one of the mules did not appear. So some of the SCLC people said, "Peter and Mickey, we need you to help find a mule." So the gentleman with a flatbed truck, a reporter from one of the local newspapers, Peter and I were hanging on. We went off to the country to find a mule and to get back to the cortege by Ebenezer Baptist Church in time for the procession. I met Dr. King for the first time when we had a debriefing session for our civil rights program in the August of 1965 at the old Ebenezer Baptist Church, and I spent the day with him since I was the president of all of the students that come down south from around the United States.
So at the end of one of the days of the conference in August of 1965, we were a little tired, a little hot. We went outside to get some fresh air, and standing outside was a gentleman with a Polaroid camera. And Mickey said to him, "Would you take our picture with Dr. King?" So of course, immediately, within 2 minutes, we had a photograph. And Dr. King said, "Let me put my name on that." And he signed the back of the photograph, "Best wishes and thanks for your help, Martin Luther King." And of course, the copy of this, which we both have, is our most treasured possession. It's an extraordinary thing. We were slightly younger.
Yeah, there's Peter, there's myself, Dr. King, and I always wondered the gentleman behind who that was, and I understood much later that it was one of his security people, because I always was with Dr. King. This is back of the old Ebenezer Baptist Church in August of 1965.
I used to say to people that Dr. King was shorter than I am, and I'm not very tall, but he was a giant. And the truth is that the power of his voice, the power of his personality, the power of his word resides inside of anyone who has ever heard him. I was just with an assembly in the Abraham Joshua Heschel School that I founded in New York last week with little 4- and 5-year-olds. And when that speech goes on the screen, they stop whatever movement they're doing. They know they are in the presence of something remarkable and special. That's the legacy that we bear. We just have a big responsibility to fulfill. Both Mickey and I, and all of those who worked as volunteers for Dr. King, the experience of being with him changed our lives, affected our lives, and has never left our lives.
The most important thing was being with Dr. King, because he was a leader. He was as I'd say, a visionary for his people, but a visionary for the American people. And his dreams became my dreams, and his social justice became my social justice. And it's not finished. The dream still has to live on. Bringing 18 students from Queens College today to go in the footsteps of Dr. King, because it has to be a spiritual, in my understanding, and a duties of the heart. It has to be something deep inside, this vision, this understanding. It cannot just be an academic or a public holiday. It has to be something that's living and something that needs help even in our day and age.